Several areas, hotspots across Belize City, were inundated today following a few hours of heavy rains. Some streets had up to a foot of water, which would later overflow into the yards of residents. It's a perennial issue that folks and the City Council have been battling, trying to find a solution, even though the old capital is well known to be resting below sea level.
Since this morning, I've spoken with the flood mitigation unit at the council, and we have been out stock taking of the hotspot areas that haven't been serviced as yet through the routine management maintenance effort of the unit through the vacuum truck.
One of the areas that is in dire need of servicing was near the intersection of Vernon and Johnson Streets in the south side of Belize City. Charles Butler and his tenants are up in arms because every time it rains, their property floods up to 3 inches into their houses.
I take it into my own hands and I get two guys, 2-3 yards back, and I dig the whole drain here. I dig the drain, right? And the water gone down, but the mud come back up to the top of the drain again, loan mud.
So it's the clogging of the drains,
Yes.
that's why the water doesn't go out?
Correct, the whole clogging. If you open the drain there, if you open the base at the top, the manhole, and you look in there, you see the mud come right up to the top. The mud is right up to the top. And the water cannot go wrong, kind of go straight, to go around and go to the gas station and go out. But if it clog that way, it can't move and back up in my yard.
The vacuum truck has been going around in other areas, including Orange Street over the weekend, where personnel have been cleaning out the drains. The truck pneumatically sucks liquid, sludge, slurries, and mixtures of sand and water without the contact of any mechanical equipment, allowing the free flow of flood waters through the catchment areas.
As soon as we've completed Orange Street, that is problematic. We've worked through that over the weekend, and when that leg of the work is completed or has been completed, our focus will be from Richard Sidewalk coming straight down into where it connects to the beginning of Vernon Street and Muscle Street, coming into this entire area here, and that should be done over the next few days. We've revisited the areas that were clean because we want to see how is it the drains are functioning and the weep holes are functioning. And with that said, the rain held up. The last I checked was about 8:30. It was still drizzling a bit thereafter, but it eased up quite a bit. And with that, we should see swift progress in the draining of the streets and so forth.
But while the City Council, through its flood mitigation unit, has been working on cleaning out the drainage system and the canals, City Emergency Management Organization Coordinator Philip Willoughby says that the issue is compounded by residents who do not dispose of their garbage properly, or mechanics and others who add to the problem.
There are several factors that we have to contend with. One, by natural design, you see the sand in the street. When it rains, that sand flushes through the weep hole and fills up the drain. It blocks up the culvert. That's one. Two, by man-made design, when we are filling these lots and human behavior and negligence of civic pride compounds the problem. And that is our reality that we have to contend with. We have to respect the draining mechanism that exists, the draining tools that exist. And we can't just set it aside and then when the rains come, we expect the drains to function. It won't function if we are compounding the problem by being negligent in some regards or the other. Again, human behavior, throwing the trash and litter. A simple foam plate can block up one of the weep holes. It's only 4 inches wide in the entire circumference. So again, it boils down to our behavior and how we treat the infrastructure. Mechanic shops, particular mechanic shops, persons who own derelict and abandoned vehicles. If Mr. Jenkins and the works crew or the vacuum truck, which is extremely huge, cannot access the manhole covers or the weep hole, how will they be able to clean the covered drains? or even the earthen drains. Having bigger, larger, wider drains, those drains are constructed for a reason. They connect and interconnect and link for a reason. Again, we have residents from the city encroaching on these water catchment areas. Those water needs to be diverted in some way or another. And that means these man-made secondary water catchment will have to function as what would have been the natural environment to deal with the smooth accommodation of accommodating the water to run off as quickly as possible.
Duane Moody for News 5.